We are all set up and ready to go. So, hello everyone and welcome back to Satisfactory. So last time we left off, we were making a whole bunch of time crystals in preparation for our synthetic power shards, among other things. And what we had discovered is that we have an oil shortage. Now, I don't think it's necessarily like an actual shortage of oil that we're like extracting. I think what's happening is that this system isn't necessarily good enough to function like the train station. I don't think the train station is fast enough to get stuff across. Also, I think my spacebar is partially dead. Yeah, the left half of my spacebar doesn't work. So that's awkward. So yeah, this is currently empty or almost empty in all of those inputs. I'm having to use my spacebar differently. That stinks. Oh, wait, sometimes it works? Alright, I don't know what's going on with it. I'm just going to try to use the more central part of the spacebar, I guess. So we can clearly see trains coming in here, looking for oil, not really getting it so much. But I think in the past when I've looked at this, we have had trains leave this stop still having oil in it, which is obviously no good. So let's see if we can catch that happening again. Alright, so here we have a little bit of a delay because these trains are piling up, which is preventing that train from getting in here, which is not ideal. And then in the meantime, I think we have other trains waiting down here as well. Let's see, are there other oil trains down here? No, it's just the one. So that's good, at least. And it should be moving out any second now. And there's another train coming immediately after it, back there. So this train goes in and it's going to unload. But the problem is, I think, at least partially, because we don't have any buffers, the oil isn't very good at getting across fast enough, which means that if we have a bunch of oil trains come in back to back, then they might leave without oil. Some of them might not fully unload. And that's not really something that we can solve in here. So we might have to do like we did with the iron and make a whole separate oil hub away from this central point, and that would just be extra convenient anyways. Alright, so you can see this train is now going in, and we have another train coming to get some output, and another train there, it looks like. So those are going. And they're not going to get much, although they will get some at least. So yeah, it looks like we probably have both problems actually. So I've definitely noticed the failure of the oil to get through the system fast enough, but it also does just seem like we don't have enough oil input. So we're going to have to fix both of those things. And let's do that by just sort of going over somewhere spacious where we're not going to be in amongst a bunch of other train stops. So the north is still a pretty good spot for that. I've put more things up there recently, but it's still pretty close to unused, relatively speaking. Alright, so we can head up there, and my spacebar is working again, so that's nice. So we are just going to head up here and set up an oil distributor. And because a lot of our oil comes from up here, this shouldn't be that much of like adding to the overall length, although it might make it slightly worse because it's slightly less central, but like it's still pretty central. So let's just build this just off here somewhere. So we do our normal group of 3 of those and then a 2-way rail. And then you get connected across as usual, like that. And you get a block signal there and a path signal there. And then you're a path signal and you're a path signal. Alright, that should be all fine. So now we have to set this whole area up, and this is going to be... It's not going to be quite as simple as, you know, the just casual 2 train stops that we've been doing for a lot of these sorts of things in the past. You're going to want to have room for all sorts of stuff to go on. And we are apparently short on concrete, and I assume that's just the dimensional storage being a bit slow. Hopefully it's not anything wrong with our actual concrete production. I can't remember where our actual concrete production is. Alright, so we need... First of all, we do need this to go out like that. And do its little curve, and then go over that way. Then we need a train station in here with a good amount of space in front of it. And this is going to be oil distributor. And it is going to be connected in. And then this will be going back. And this is going to have fluid freight platforms pointing that way is very important. 4, and then we need another couple of foundations. So let's get those blocked in. And then you go there. Alright, so now we need to make a system for dealing with this stuff. And hang on. We have a train stuck in there. Oh no, that's probably fine. Probably fine. It's waiting in line behind the thing it's supposed to be waiting behind, so I'm just gonna hope that it's okay. So, what we need is, I think, possibly organization. So if we do that, can this connect up to there? Yes, but this is aligned with the wrong bits. So we need to get you lined up with the output. Wait, which one is this actually? I called this distributor. Alright, so it actually is aligned like this. So I didn't need to dismantle it. So you go in there. And then you stack on top there. And then you stack up there. And there. And one more. Alright, so now this will allow me to have buffers in the system so that the trains run a lot more frequently. So that all goes down like so. And then we need our other train stop to be just along this area. Wait, I don't know why I'm doing that. I need more than that. I need the big blueprints. So let's take that out and just plop these guys in. Alright, so that extends backwards a good ways. And then we can get our train station in. So you need to be lined up just the same as the other one. And give you a little bit of space. Alright, now we just have to get that connected up to the rails, and this is going to be oil hub. Alright, then we just get the fluid freight platforms and we place them in like so. And finally we connect these outputs across to here. So you all go like that. And you go like that, and then there. Alright, so assuming that the head lift works, which it should, this will be improved in terms of the throughput. And then there's also just I think the previous one having these junctions was pretty important, I think, so we're just going to put those in and get them up here as well. Alright, so now we can connect all of these across so that we can get them at least somewhat evenly distributed in case that isn't the case from the input side. And there we go. Could even do it again and that would get it even better, but I don't think it's necessary. So this is all set up, and then we need our train tracks, which, because we are worried about multiple consecutive trains, we again want to do a little bit differently. So we want you to go quite a ways back. Like that should be good enough, probably. And then you can go across here. And let's actually take you out and build you back in just correctly. So you can't get lined up until you're out that way. That's fine. Alright, now that this is powered up, so this line goes across, and then we can go in here. So you just go in like this, and then forwards, and then the rest of the way forwards, and let's just cover that track in. And then we have to do the same thing over for this one. So it has to get out to just directly behind that. Okay, don't fall off. Don't fall off the foundation. That would be very bad. Alright, so then we have that. The tracks then loop around. and they go in. This is apparently not quite straight, but that's fine, it's close enough. Alright, so now we can put block signals there and there. And then we can go forwards and place block signals there and there. So that should be long enough for a train to fit in, hopefully. And then let's just get an additional block signal somewhere along the way. And another one somewhere along the way. And then these ones get block signals on the way out. So there. And there. Alright. So this is now all set up. And what I want to do is take at least some of... No, I think we have to take all of the trains over to here and see if it works better. And if it doesn't work better, we're going to have to just have two separate hubs and split evenly between the two, which would kind of be annoying, but I guess we'll see. Alright, so now we just slide jump back to the old oil hub, and just whenever a train shows up, we just have to tell it to go somewhere else. Alright, across we go. And this will also probably marginally help traffic around the center of the map, which is always a nice little bonus to have. So past the limestone, and I believe it's this one? No, that's water, because of course it is. And then here we are at oil. Okay, I've just realized that these are all named the same thing. So what if I just rename those to Oil Hub Old and Oil Distributor Old? So you can edit timetable. What did you have for this? Just one unload. So you are going to add Oil Distributor and remove that. And alright, I sort of got carried along for the journey there, but it's fine. So you shouldn't be going in here anymore. And then we just have to get all the rest of these. So you edit timetable, oil distributor, get rid of that, save changes. Alright, so that is now a couple of trains going off. And we still haven't gotten any of the input trains to go to the new place. But we will get there eventually. Alright, here's ACU oil and supercomputer oil, both rushing in at about the same time. Alright, so we go edit timetable, oil distributor, remove that, save changes. You are just going to go straight through because you no longer have this one set up. So now we go over here to you, edit timetable, oil distributor, move the old one, save changes. Off you go. So we still haven't gotten a single one of the trains that actually provides the oil, which we're definitely going to need. And then once this is set up, we're going to have to add another oil extraction spot somewhere, because I think we also just clearly don't have enough. Yeah, these delays are pretty huge. So here comes Northern Oil. And that cooling system nitrogen is still stuck back there. It's probably not good. I think we're going to have to go investigate that and just see what's going on. And so this one is going to be going to Oil Hub. So off we go, grab you, timetable, Oil Hub, get rid of Oil Hub old, save changes. There you go. So now you're going to be making your way over. Alright, this one is just labeled train, but it's coming in. So first of all, RCU oil. Second of all, oil distributor, get rid of oil distributor old, save changes. Off you go. We also, so that's nice. We actually got a train labeled that previously wasn't. Alright, do we have more trains approaching this area? Yeah, I mean, this whole oil distributor here is an absolute mess anyways. I'm pretty glad to be getting rid of it. Honestly, I'm just using this as an excuse to get rid of it more than anything else. It might technically be able to still work, although it wouldn't be ideal. But I just wanted to move everything out of this spot. Alright. The amount of trains we've moved here is pretty low still. So where are the rest of them? Northern Oil 2 is still up there. And that's doing its thing still. Yes, I don't know what's going on with our oil trains. Maybe if I just search for oil. I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of oil related trains which I haven't gotten yet. Also, it seems like we might have a bit of a traffic jam over that way. Not sure what's going on there. But we do have a lot of trains sitting around and waiting. Who knows? Alright, anything over there? I don't see any more oil trains showing up at this very moment. And I don't know why half the map is lit up now. Alright, so I typed oil in here, but it's not disappearing. I don't know. Weird stuff is weird. Weird stuff is definitely weird. Hey, look, the water system is still functional, apparently, somehow. I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen. Alright, Northern Oil 3 is making its way down. So I guess we can find that. Alright, here we go. And there is still a lot more trains that we have to do, unfortunately. Now, I believe when we did the iron, we eventually just disconnected the stations from everything so that the trains which couldn't get there would then have nice exclamation point signs and we'd be able to track them down. We should probably do that for this as well. So you get to go to Oil Hub, not the old one, and save that, and off you go. So that is another full train's worth that I have rescued from this place. And it's been quite a bit. It has been quite a bit since we've gotten anything out here. Are you coming this way? Yes, you are. Thermal propulsion rockets oil. Alright, so you get to go to oil distributor, not the old one. And off you go. So there we go. That's set up. We have another train coming through here. Are you anything? No, you look like you're bauxite or something. Alright. No sign of anything coming over there. Train is probably just leaving. Yes, it is. Alright, that traffic jam that I was looking at earlier has disappeared. So that's good. Alright. It has been long enough that I think we disconnect those guys. And now we'll just have to see any of the future ones show up. They will be giving warning signs and we'll be able to spot them. Alright, so let's just make our way over to the new oil location and see how things are going over there. And then we'll have to check on the oil production places, so like the Northern Oil and wherever else we're getting oil from. Because I believe... Why is there a random hole in the floor there? I believe we still just don't have enough raw oil output to deal with everything. So our changes to the distribution system, adding the buffers in, should help. They are not going to solve the problem on their own. Alright, so we're over here, and this is completely emptied. Oh, these need to be set to unload. That's obviously incredibly important. So those are all set to unload. And let's just actually confirm. Yes, so this area is barely long enough to fit our trains in, you know, if they end up backing up like that. Alright, so anywhere that's having trouble. You are just the normal ACU iron thing, which typically does some waiting. Northern Oil up here is stuck. Northern Oil 2. Next stop is unreachable. Alright, I guess we did Northern Oils 1 and 3. So let's head up to there. and get the oil trains running again. So off we go, just slide jumping along. It's not too far, fortunately. So off we go. Almost there. And here we are. Alright, so these guys are obviously all waiting in these various places. And I can actually fit another block signal in there so that you should be able to get into this area. So you get to go not to there, but to the new oil hub. Save changes, and off you go. So you are off to the races. And now these... Is this like the maximum amount of oil that we can send up? We are sending up 1, 2, 3... It looks like at most 4 pipes of oil, so we could fit more in, although I suspect this is all the oil here that we have extracted. So if we wanted to add more up here, we would need to grab those 2 impures and that normal, or we'd have to go up there for those 2 impures. There's a decent chunk down there, it looks like. A couple normals. And there's this big central batch, which is actually like right by one of these guys. Yeah, so that's... We can actually just like take those, bring them forward into this, and then make this like a central oil place as well. Alright. So this is... This place has no trains by it, and it's all filled. Which makes sense because of how I've been reconfiguring things, but will probably not be the case in a moment. Okay, so I guess because these wait at the oil place until they're full, I believe I set them to do that. Theoretically, them getting unlucky and stopping right after another one shouldn't cause that much of a difference, because it'll just mean that their next wait at the northern oil place is going to be shorter. Alright, so this goes in and it fills everything up. And we have that train going in. So that train is going to take some of this fluid back. And that's plastic and rubber. That's fine. So this is loading us up with oil. And off it goes. So this platform is completely full. It's completely full and is draining out at like 600 a minute, which doesn't seem to make much mathematical sense, considering it should be 1200 a minute. But I guess that is what it is. And so now that's going to immediately drop down to near 0 because we have another train doing a very marginal unload there. So these buffers will help a little bit. They won't completely solve the problem, but they'll at least mean that this can go like the other. So like this can fill up even if there's a train in here that's stopping that from flowing. Okay, it might also just be that the way I've distributed this is uneven because of the fact that they're linked across to each other. So that one was up at like 1,000. That one was up at like 1,000. Yeah, so it might be that that's the case. I don't know why it would be. Maybe we need valves. So if we just get valves going in to here, that should make sure that no weird stuff happens on that front at least. And we have another oil train showing up already. This is probably close to full enough to move more crude oil across. Alright, and the trains here are starting to line up. Alright, so let's just hide all the train stations on the map so I can see the trains themselves. Are there any other trains having errors? I don't see any. So we can show those again. So that just means that all of the trains are making their way across. Not necessarily that they're all getting enough resources, but at least that's something. Alright, so now this just has to unload as much oil as possible before the next train comes in, which seems like it's going to be very soon. And yeah, we might have to set rules that the trains will stay here until empty, which will, I believe, require this to be even larger to be able to store 3 of them at a time. Alright, let's go in here and open the menu, edit timetable. So at the Northern Oil, you're waiting to be full. At the oil hub, I want you to wait for, or 15 seconds is fine. So we can set you up. So you'll still go through eventually, but at least the delay will be slightly longer. So this is still just not able to get enough across. Alright, so Northern Oil 3 is coming in, and we're going to have to give it the same setting. See, aluminum oil, that's fine. You can just get whatever oil you can find. Alright, so Northern Oil 3. Let's catch you back here. And edit oil hub, fully loaded or unloaded, or wait 15 seconds. So we got that one in before it actually hit the station, so it should actually take effect here. Alright, so it is now doing its unloading animation. And this is not flowing all that much in the meantime. The bottom one is like nearly empty because I guess it's all gone through. Alright, so that is going now. And it still didn't fully unload. Maybe we have to set it to like more than 30 seconds or something. The flow rate across this valve is still only like 100. It should be like as much as 600. Right? So down here, this one is in the ballpark of 600. And this one, okay, this one is now in the ballpark of 600, so that's fine. I don't know what was going wrong with it before, but now it is flowing as fast as it can. And filling up some of these guys, which are then filling up that. Alright, so we just need to get this oil functional, because currently there's all sorts of parts of the factory that aren't working because of oil shortages. And we just need to get the oil going strong so that that is no longer a concern. And we do have a lot of oil. Like, we're not necessarily... I don't know. It's hard to tell whether we're actually short on oil or not. I've sort of gone back and forth on that. But it looks like it might be the case. But it's probably close either way. Now the problem is, because all these guys are empty, they're all drawing way more oil than they actually need. And that will just continue until some of them fill up and start going back to normal train like durations, because they shouldn't be running this frequently if they were actually getting oil. And yeah, I mean, we're even getting like these backlogs should not be happening. Alright, so there is Northern Oil, whichever. So let's go up to here. Northern Oil 2. And I want you to stay there until either you're fully loaded / unloaded or 15 seconds have passed. And we'll see what that looks like. Although it'll probably just fully unload. Yeah, so these are empty now. The buffers themselves still have some fuel in them, which is going out as fast as it can. And then once all these trains get through, then this will be able to fill the oil back in. Alright, here we go. Keeping it going. We're keeping things running. We are keeping things running. Why do you have, like, a meaningful flow rate? There shouldn't be anything left to flow through there right now. I guess it's just stuck in the pipes. Who knows? It's all weird and funky. Alright, it also looks like there is some unevenness. Like these center ones look like they're not doing quite as well as the outer ones. So I don't know what's up about that. The top row is definitely not getting as much as the bottom row, but that's basically to be expected. Alright, so we delivered another batch of crude oil there. So that is good. And it's just going. It's just going. Alright, let's find some more crude oil to attach into the system. And there was that central bit directly underneath the other one that we were dismantling. We can just undismantle it. So off we go. And this is not going to be as good oil as we have up north, but it'll still be pretty solid. Do we have power shards? We do not. We're going to have to make some. Okay, and did I just see oscillator oil has just run? So the oscillators have just run out of oil, so we're going to need to go down and fill them and get them fixed. So that is the big fancy building that I actually decorated for once. So we're going to go up here and get those swapped around. So off we go, and that will just be another train added on to the massive swarm that is desperately grabbing every bit of oil that it can. Alright, so we're in here now. And you are going to edit timetable, move that, add. Sorry, I had to sneeze. That was unexpected. There we go. So you are now heading off to the oil. And we are going to then return to our central hub, which I guess we can hop in here for a bit since it's headed in the right general direction. Although it looks like we're going to be getting into traffic. So now we will hop ahead. And we're going to be heading in different directions next anyways, so that's fine. Alright, off we go. And if I recall correctly, the oil we were looking for was like directly beneath the limestone hub. So it should be right down there. Yes, it is. Now, do we have power down there? We do. Okay, so that's handy. But what we need is we do need a pipe. We need a pipe to go down there and bring it up, which with fluids is not exactly the easiest thing. Alright, so we want this to be attached into just this general system, probably. Okay, how much oil is it? So a pipe is 600, normal is 300, 300. So this is 2 pipes worth, right? Because it's 2 normals and a pure. So yeah, if we actually just bring each of these guys down there, then it'll work. And okay, we might be able to set up like jump starting our head lift from the train stations, because there is some there is some oil in here which we can yoink. Alright, so let's get you going down through a hole in the ground. Then you can come around and go through another hole in the ground in the same general location. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to get this oil back in the system. So if we just like do something like that. Just something like that, and now this 1,000 or so oil is going to be in this whole area. And actually, wait, no. We want you to be in this bottom one, because that's the one where we have our fluid buffer. So let's see if I remember how to do this, actually. Do I actually remember how to do this? What we need to do is we need this fluid buffer. Yeah, so this fluid buffer will be fed from our fresh oil once we have that functioning. And right now it has oil in it, so it will provide our magical head lift shenanigans, assuming that we have enough crude oil attached up to it, which we can do pretty easily. So all of these should be enough to fill up that one pipe, hopefully. So that is going, and now it's all filling up into this fluid buffer. So now we drop down below all that, and we need to just get a wall in. And then we just have to zoop the wall all the way down. Okay, wait. Actually, I'm remembering this now. The water tower system, the fluid buffer, needs to be like sort of on a separate thing, kind of. So it is going down there. So because the fluid buffer water is going down, we need to have two pipes that are dedicated to going up. I think. So I think it's easy. We just have to, just do something basic like that so that you are then connected up. Alright, so the far right pipe is the head lift pipe, and the other two are just the normal output pipes. So we're going to run this pipe down first so that it gets all the oil. And, okay, do we need power? Yes, we're going to need to bring power down here with us so that we don't fall off of the map. So where is a power line? There, we can grab one from that train station and pop it on the side of this wall. So now we just go down as far as we can and bring our pipe down with us. Alright. So now we can grab a power line and continue going down. And we bring the wall down. Let's just get this wall all the way down first. So that wall goes down as far as it can go. Then we run our power line down all the way. And let's get the water pipe, which has to go in a lot more steps. This is not water, this is crude oil. That's important. Alright, so that is now down to there. And our power lines are now... Maybe we can just even grab power from over here, probably. Alright, so there we go. So that comes across, and let's just get this down to ground level. Boy, this place sure is unpleasant. Alright, so that's down to ground level, and we've got crude oil in it. So now we have to go over that way, where we will eventually encounter some pipes, or some places where we can grab crude oil from. And we need to continue bringing power lines across so that we don't fall out of the sky. Forward go. And where is it? It's actually pretty far. Forget how big these distances can be. So just like in that area up ahead. Yeah, I see them. 1, 2, 3, it looks like. Right by that giant power tower, actually. And right by this purple power slug. Not going to complain about that. So we'll pick you up. We're very close to having synthetic power shards, but we need just a little bit more regular ones. So let's get you in. I have no blue slugs. I guess I just don't consider them worth picking up. Alright, so now we can get these guys going so that we have more power shards to get all of the crude oil done. And while that runs, we can pop the extractors in. 1, 2, and where's the third? Up there. Alright, so now we just connect power, power, and power. Alright, so we are back up to 24-ish power shards. And then let's find the purple power slug recipe. And we might as well make you go even faster, so you'll be done soon. Then we just have to overclock all these guys. So that is one pipe there between these two. And then you go forwards like that. And then this one is just a pure, so it is a pipe all on its own. There we go. So let's grab those power shards, and our summer sloop. Alright. So now we do our head lift trick, which is you go along there, you two connect in, you connect in, but get a valve with 0 throughput. Alright, so that is going down to 0, and then we just take these two pipes back, and they should now be able to scale the wall without any power problems. And we're just gonna go straight through these poison pillars. Apparently there's a little mini spider or two in there as well. Why not? Alright, forward and forward. Alright, almost there. Okay, so now we can go up onto the wall, and we'll be able to see if this head lift trick works, or if we run out of oil or something. And if the head lift trick does work, it should ultimately fill itself and keep the whole thing going. So that's going up. So we shouldn't have to do weird stuff with packaging, because we had a decent supply of oil already. Alright, up we go. And we are almost there. We're almost there. The crude oil pipe looks good. It looks like it's filled all the way up to the top. Okay, so now we just have to get the floor holes set up correctly. So you have to go into the floor hole from there. And then if we drop down to here, then these guys can connect up. And that should be nice and functional. So that one is empty, that one is empty, that one is empty. This one is empty as of now. This one is chillin'. Did I not attach you in? I didn't. Okay, so I might have to do that to jumpstart this whole thing. But it should theoretically be fine, right? So we should be getting crude oil coming up these pipes and into the whole system. Alright, so the crude oil is up to here, and it looks like it is going up. Although it's hard to tell. The flow rate looks not good. It's very difficult to say. This one, okay, well the flow rate looked better and then it immediately stopped. This one is obviously flow rate 0 as it should be. So hopefully that is just getting itself all sorted out. It looks like we are getting some crude oil up here. Maybe. This is filling. So this industrial fluid buffer is filling faster than it's draining, it looks like. Which, or maybe not. It's definitely oscillating. But assuming that it is, then we should eventually get more crude oil coming up here. And it should eventually go into these freight platforms, although probably not in the immediate future. Alright. The only real way of knowing is to just check the oil extraction pumps themselves and see what they say is going on. So if they say that they're maxed out and not producing anything, then that means that we have a problem. If they say that they're pumping away, then they're pumping away. But I see yellow. I see a whole lot of yellow. Alright, so what is up with you? You are 25%. And it looks worse than that. It looks like it's just stopped. You look like you're just stopped. And so do you. Alright, so why are you like this? Also, I'm just gonna get rid of these poison pillars. There you go. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Okay, we get rid of the ones that are at least like directly on the path that the pipes go up. So that's something. That one is too big and too close. Oh, did I accidentally kill a bean? I didn't even know that he was in there. Sorry, Mr. Bean. That was unintentional. Alright, so the poison pillars are mostly gone now. So I think what might be happening is that the oil up here is trying to like flow down into the crude oil, which is definitely not what I want to be happening. So we're gonna have to see if we can fix that. So we climb up here, and this, I mean, it looks like it's doing something. It looks like something is happening up here. Something good. So if I put just like a valve on there and a valve on there, just to control the direction of flow. We have 0 across that one, and like 50 or 60 across this one. Okay, so this might be having problems just because this head lift is not providing enough just yet. Whereas this one is going. It's going slowly, and it's not clear how much, but some oil is coming up this pipe. This pipe, by contrast, it's all getting stuck past this valve. So I think we do need this fluid buffer to fill, maybe. It doesn't look like it's doing much of anything. It's just sort of fluctuating, which would very much be consistent with it just not doing anything of interest. So let's put a valve on there, again, just controlling the direction of flow. So this doesn't drain out to the left. And it shouldn't be able to drain out this way because this should be full. It shouldn't be possible for this to be getting any crude oil unless it's flowing back into the buffer. So why is this doing stuff? Why is that doing stuff? So we still are getting small numbers across this, although they look like they might be getting bigger. Yeah, I mean, this is going up to like the 200s per minute. Although now it goes back down. Alright, now it's up to like 300 a minute. And that's all going this way across here, which is definitely only possible if we're pumping new fluid out. This one still very much uninterested in going up. But this one is seeing actually a lot of activity. It's getting up to pretty sizable numbers there. So this is maybe filling a little bit off of this. I don't know. So this output pipe is just completely filled. There's nothing for it to do there, right? So the drain rate is like it's sloshing back into this like little millimeter of pipe, which it definitely shouldn't be doing. And that millimeter of pipe is, it looks like, filling up now. Alright, I think this is working, and it's just a question of like how long is it going to take for it to all get sorted out properly. But I'm also not at all confident on that. Like this number has gotten a lot smaller. None of these guys are showing any fluid at all, except for I saw a little flicker in that one, and then there's this one which wasn't connected up. There's this fluid buffer there, which is sort of on the other end of things. And this actually might be the cause of a lot of the sloshing. So what if I just like pop a valve in there? So this fluid buffer just doesn't get to do anything interesting. It's just going to sit there with what crude oil it has, as the rest of this does stuff without it. Alright, so we still have non-zero flow rate across this, but it's still way too low to be what we want it to be. This is higher than it was last I checked, up to 301, which is interesting. Yeah, the whole fluid system in this game is very confusing. Like this, for example, 400 some is flowing through here. In what direction? Like, how is that even working? So it should be like, theoretically, a whole lot is going this way, and then more, and then the rest is going that way. Alright, let's check to see if there are any other trains which are out of oil. It's been a long enough time. Yes, there's one in there. Modular engines. Alright, so I am going to somewhat... Okay, now this doesn't have any crude oil pipe in it there. And yet somehow is still outputting stuff through there. I don't understand what's going on here. None of this makes any sense. So we definitely got oil all the way up to here. This is showing like a good 100 or so flow rate. And now that is empty. Alright, I don't understand what's going on with this. So now it's definitely broken. So this one is the one which should be getting more. And it's not. Alright, let's drop down here to make sure that I did our connection here correctly. So down we go, catch our fall, and then slide jump over this way. So have these guys produced anything? Slash, are they producing anything? No. You are completely stuck. What about these two? Both completely stuck. Alright. Did I set the valve wrong somehow? No, doesn't look like it. That is set to 0. And it is. And all of the pipe leading up to it is fully saturated. Let's grab this power slug so that it isn't just floating there on something that I destroyed. And I guess we'll grab this Mercer sphere, since it would be weird to just leave it here. Alright. So this is officially flow rate 0, flow rate 0. So nothing of consequence is happening. Alright, so let's go up to the very top. And I don't know, maybe if we just take the outputs off of the train stop, maybe that will fix it. So if we go up here, then this pipe, alright, it didn't have crude oil, but now it suddenly got some, which means that it isn't a head lift problem, apparently, because otherwise this wouldn't be happening. it looks like actually this is filling faster than it's draining. Is it going up through this? Alright, sure. Now so this pipe is working. And at 600 a minute, it basically just has to be coming from the extractors. But then this pipe is just mysteriously not working. And that's incredibly suspicious. So you have stuff in you, and you, right next to it, don't. So if I just try reconnecting you across, like that. Alright, it looks like not much of consequence is happening. Okay, what if I take these out so that this is now set up properly to just be bringing in crude oil. Like that. Alright, now this top pipe has just completely folded. So why was this working and then suddenly just decided to give up for no good reason? This still has crude oil in it. Should still be providing head lift to the whole system. This looks like it's still flowing down here. Okay. These just went up a bit, like they're working now for some reason. Alright, that is a good sign, I guess. So both of these are now going at 600 a minute. And they stopped again. This bottom one is going. The top one is going. Alright, I do not understand what is going on with this crude oil. It's literally just... Okay, now it's empty again. It's literally just changing from full throughput to absolutely nothing going on, just on a whim. For no reason whatsoever. That is certainly a thing that it is allowed to do. So this bottom one has been going stably for a while. This top one has been sort of off and on. It's like there, and now that's back down to 0. But why? But why is it like this? Why can't you just be normal? Alright, meanwhile, this is somehow just not getting any flow rate in, despite the fact that 600 a minute is coming into here. Literally none of it is going into this fluid buffer. So that's cool, I guess. So I guess it must just be like filling all of these guys. So they're going to be getting... That last one is full, obviously. This one is getting 80 a minute in. Pipes are weird in this game. I completely agree. Like why is this empty? There was stuff going through it, and then it stopped, and then it started again, and then it stopped again. So if I look here, it's working. And then if I look up here, it isn't. So maybe it's because the head lift only goes up to this industrial fluid buffer and not past it. So that maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Let's try adding a pump and see what happens. If you package the oil, you fit way more per train car. Yes, you... Okay, technically, it's like marginally more. But more importantly, it's just a huge nuisance. Like, the packaging is... It's just a lot of effort to get that. And the train car throughput is not the problem here. Like, the problem is just getting the oil going at all. Okay, so I've put that pump in. Is this working now? It certainly is not. Wait, maybe? I don't know, it's hard to say. How much is going through the pump? Not 600 a minute, that's for sure. Yeah, okay, so this is doing something at least, so that's nice. Okay, meanwhile, this one has just stopped for absolutely zero reason whatsoever. Oh boy. This is why I try to make fluid things simple and why I regret building a giant sky base. Okay, now this one has decided to start working again, maybe. Who knows why. So these aren't getting anything. None of these are getting anything. So we're pumping 100 oil through here, and none of it is going anywhere, apparently. I love that. Meanwhile, let's just go down to check on the oil extractors and see what's happening. The annoying thing is that you do the water tower like 5 times, and like 4 times it works completely perfectly first try, and then the 5th time this happens. And then you're just stuck trying to figure out what on earth is going on. So are these oil extractors running at all? No. And over here, the answer is no. And this one is a definite no. Alright, so if the oil extractors aren't extracting, then where is all that oil that I've been pumping up coming from? I guess this one is at 38%, which means it was extracting at some point recently, maybe? Who can say? I mean, these pipes are... This portion, at least, is all filled with oil. Okay, so then we just need to check what's happening up, like, near the very top, I guess. So the bottom side is just normal, boring stuff, and nothing really interesting going on there. That's all definitely correct. The top side, I guess... How far up do we have to go? Okay. There was flow through here, and the only possible place that could be coming from is the oil extractors, right? Because this pipe is set to a valve that is set to 0, and these guys don't have any outputs. So any crude oil coming through here must be from the extractors, but it apparently isn't. I don't know, this is a giant headache, and I still don't understand how this guy is getting absolutely nothing. Like, it hasn't changed at all meaningfully in ages. Okay, maybe maybe we need to just get one of these guys attached in, because this one has a bunch of crude oil. Maybe I can just like hold on to hope that somehow sending that crude oil into the system will magically just make it work. So let's just get all of that in. And this will probably magically make it... If it does magically make it work, it'll be temporary at least. Alright, so that crude oil is going out of there, and it's just going to be distributed into these other freight platforms. I kind of want to just fill this fluid buffer and see if that fixes it. So this is still outputting some. Some crude oil is coming up through that pump. Some is coming up through here. And absolutely none of it is making its way all the way over to that fluid buffer. So this is mostly looping back into itself, because of course it would, that's how it's set up. But it is getting some crude oil into the rest of this system. This entire half of the oil network is all messed up. At least the other place where I'm getting most of my oil is functioning. I would really, really prefer if this is working as it should. I don't know, let's go over to the other... let's just go over to the oil distribution place, and then maybe we just have enough and we don't need to worry about it. Although it seems unlikely. I was really hoping to actually start working on the synthetic power shards, but we just got stuck in this nightmare of trying to fix the oil for the entire stream so far. Because it turns out that synthetic power shards requires diamonds, which requires crude oil, at least if you wanted to be reasonably efficient about it. Alright, so we go up here, and this is our oil distribution place, which is potentially still a bit scuffed since I also set this up just today. But we have that all looking good. So this is the output side. It's outputting pretty quickly into there, which is then outputting pretty quickly into there. And so these are not all the same speed, it looks like. Some of these are 1,200 a minute, some of them are like 600 a minute. Why is that? Is that just because some of these have more oil than others? Or is there some other weird thing going on? Okay, yeah, it looks like that one ran out first for some reason, which I guess is fine. So then these buffers are also going to be running out. So we do actually need the additional oil, which means we need to just continue staring at this, I think. The northern oil is just going. The mod engine oil I need to fix so that it works properly, but that's not exactly urgent since we don't need modular engines for anything really. Alright, so basically in the same position there as we were previously. It's going fine, but we need more crude oil. So we're going to head back down this way and see if we can... Maybe leaving and coming back will magically fix the problem. That sort of thing does happen sometimes. Alright, so we are now over here. And we just have to run north along all these guys. Past the limestone past the water, which we technically use, but not really, because I gave up on that ages ago. And now we're at the oil. And you are going like 150-ish. You are going basically 0. You haven't changed since I last checked. And now this one is empty, and it's just distributed it into all of these guys. Alright, so let's take... And now you are... Yeah, so now none of you are filling at all. Which continues to leave the question. If 100 some oil is flowing across this pump, and it's not going into any of these things, where is it going? It's like genuinely just vanishing. And like it's vanishing mostly between there and here. It just stops existing for some reason. And those, I can barely see the lights in the distance. They are all yellow. Because of course they are. Okay, now this pipe isn't even filled. This one is. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be filled. Or it should be filled if it were working properly. Let's try just like moving this pump down a little bit. Oh, no, so if we take that pump out, okay, then that just does whatever it does, and it doesn't magically fix anything. Now, I think what's happening is like the head lift is not registering properly. Oh, I actually think I might know what I have to do. If I drop down here and hopefully land close enough to a power pole to not go splat. Oh, the lag spike. Alright. That lag spike might have killed me, but it didn't. Alright, so we have this valve, which is currently set to 0. If we crank you up and flush a segment. Alright, so now some is flowing through this pipe. And then back down to 0. Sometimes you have to do that to like get it to calculate the head lift properly. I might have put that... I might not have done that. Alright, so we've done that now, and it's definitely... Oh, that one worked briefly, I guess. Probably just to fill that tiny little gap that I made. Alright, and they're definitely not doing anything more than that. So this one is actually showing movement. Actually showing some movement briefly before it vanishes. Alright, that doesn't seem to be doing much of anything. So let's go up here. And we might have to give up and just place 20 billion pumps on these, but that would be a lot of pumps, which would be pretty annoying to do and also use some power. And it also simply shouldn't be necessary. Alright, so this is just doing what it does. Alright, now these briefly look like they were doing something before immediately stopping again, as they tend to do. of these guys are just sitting passively, taking in any crude oil that exists. I don't know, maybe we just like... No, that definitely wouldn't help at all. I mean, they're not doing anything. Alright, this is now flowing. Why is 600 a minute going through here now? And it looks like something might be happening down here as well. See, this is the infuriating part, is I have no idea if this is... If it magically just decided to work, I don't know what's made it decide that. And if it hasn't magically just decided to work, then I don't know what to do. Then like, it's not obvious that that hasn't happened. So, like, this top one is going for some reason. And it is definitely filling up these, so it's actually real. It's actually real motion from this pipe. And then this other pipe, which is literally connected 100% identically, nothing is going on. And this one is actually lower, so you would expect it to be better off for the head lift. Alright, so that, I guess, I'm happy that that is going at least. So we have something. We have something. Is this stable? It seems like it might be stable, honestly. I mean, it's almost filled up the stations. It's almost filled up the stations. This other one, which is connected to the fluid buffer, is doing nothing. Alright. I don't want to mess with this top pipe because it seems to be working. But I might have to in order to get the bottom pipe fixed. Or maybe this is just going to start working on its own as well. Yeah, so that is now going up. Alright. I guess we fixed it? Question mark? So that is 600 a minute coming out of that pipe. 600 a minute coming out of that pipe. Soon this stuff will all be filled, and then we can be pretty confident that it's actually in a good position. Alright, so that is going along. You are still good. You are still good. So yeah, I guess just flickering that valve down there must have done it. I guess flickering that valve down there solved the problem. So now that platform is filled. This one is filling. Oh, nope, that's crashing again. Because of course it is. Because why would it ever just be at a consistent, stable flow rate when it could just randomly, abruptly stop for no reason? Fluids. Oh, fluids. Alright, so, I mean, they are still getting some, but it seems to have stopped once more, unless it's going up again. Also, through all of that, this didn't get a single little bit of oil, which is somewhat mysterious. I rebuild a pipe. Yeah, okay, so you are not getting anything. I feel like this fluid buffer not being full enough might be part of the problem. Like, if this thing is supposed to be where the head lift is coming from, then we should have it be more full. But I don't understand why nothing is going into it. Like, we have this 100% full pipe and then going straight into the fluid buffer. Okay, did I just see this going somewhere again? Maybe. Yes, potentially. Alright. Why? Why are you like this? This is the worst. It just randomly decided to work for like a minute and then it just decided to stop working, and now it might be randomly deciding to work again? So those are still all yellow off in the distance. So this is just like, what, fluctuation of something? Alright, let's take you, because you've got a good solid amount of crude oil. Let's just disconnect you from everything. And then disconnect you from everything. And then if we just have you just go directly across to there to fill up that fluid buffer, then this fluid buffer will fill. And maybe that will accomplish something. I can't imagine what that would accomplish, but, you know, it might do something. It'd be real cool to see this starting up again. And it looks like this top one is starting up again for no discernible reason. And it's going solidly... It was going solidly at 600 for a little bit. Now it's fluctuating. Alright, so this fluid buffer is getting filled up. So maybe that is doing something. Because previously when we've had fluid buffers like this, they've been basically full. Alright, absolutely zero coming through this one. And this one is going occasionally. Now, while it's doing that, is that running from these guys down here? I don't see any green lights. Oh, I think maybe that one turned green briefly. I don't know, it's hard to tell. They're like a billion miles away. They're like a billion miles away, so it's very difficult to tell what, if anything, they're doing. But this has decided to give up again. So at least this fluid buffer is mostly full. At least we've got that going for us. Yeah, I'm just losing my mind here with this. This oil should not be as difficult as it is to deal with. Alright, now you're going again. As for why, it's impossible to say. It doesn't seem like it actually made it all the way through. Okay, this one was going briefly, as was this one. So our crude oil buffer is filling to the brim. Might drain everything from that platform, and that's probably fine, I guess. Because if it's completely full, it should provide headlift for all this stuff. Alright, that is going. So these two valves say that things can only go up from these pipes. And the valve down there is turned off, so nothing can come down from here. So that should in theory, mean that anything coming through here should be produced by the extractors, but it doesn't really seem like that is in fact the case. It seems like some mysterious magic is going on. Alright, let's see. What happens if we just like... If we just like... flush that segment a couple of times. Does it refill? And do those guys do the work of refilling it? It definitely refills. And... okay, maybe... I don't know, maybe that's causing some magic to happen which causes this to work. So let's flush that one too. So that is going. Now if we hop up here, we have 600 a minute there and like 100 a minute up here. Don't know why. Makes no sense. Nothing here makes the slightest bit of sense. Like this fluid buffer, I guess. Connect you up. Do you get anything? No, you do not. So that fluid buffer being connected or not being connected doesn't really make much of a difference. That one is filled. That one is not filled. And is filling maybe a little bit. This was supposed to be such an easy, brief little, you know, just fix the crude oil before moving on to the synthetic, to the, what were we doing? We were making diamonds. We just need to fix the crude oil. That's all. Such a simple task. You just connect it up to some trains, and then this happens. And then this happens. I don't know. This is when I start thinking, you know, maybe I should just package everything, because you can tell it's a good sign when the fluid system is designed in such a way that the best way of dealing with the fluid system is to go to extraordinary lengths out of your way to not deal with the fluid system. It's like this should be working. According to the mechanics of the game, it should be working. According to the other factories that I have, which are designed identically to this, it should be working. And yet, it simply has decided to not work. And there's nothing that can be done about that, aside from just poking it and nudging it until it decides to work again. Alright, let's try just deconstructing these pipes entirely. Is that something that I haven't done? Alright, so those pipes are now entirely deconstructed. So, now, if we drop down to here, these pipelines are still somehow managing to flow, despite the fact that they are just dead ends. And that should be the end of that. No, they're flowing like 100 some per minute for literally nothing. This is so infuriating. This is the sort of thing which Makes you want to pull your hair out. So it is just like flowing back and forth for no reason whatsoever. And yeah, there's nothing in these pipes that it could possibly be flowing to. And this is the topmost point, and it's full except for when it stops being full for literally no reason. Like, it genuinely isn't flowing into anything. It's just flowing to nowhere. So that's cool. Love that. Alright, so what if we now reconnect them? Like that. Do they accomplish anything at all? Okay, it doesn't look great. Yeah, so okay, let's see actually. If I just disconnect those entirely again. So you are totally stationary. You are full. You are receiving a small trickle of oil from this pipe, I guess. Which doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Okay, maybe this fluid buffer over here is just like causing problems simply by existing, and maybe if I dismantle it, everything will magically start working. Okay, well now this fill rate has dropped down to 2. So this then goes into there. And you go up into there. And nothing whatsoever. Okay, let's try something different. So what if we... if we just... Okay, no. What I was going to try was stupid and would probably just make things worse. So we're not going to do it. Instead, you're going to continue staring at these pipes which don't work and just wishing that they would choose to work. Alright, let's try this. So we're going to disconnect those guys. We're going to disconnect those. We are going to completely flush this whole pipe segment. And actually this... we should be able to go for full pipe network flush there, and that should be fine. Then we're going to go to here. And we're going to flush that one out. Alright. Alright, so now we have nothing in those pipes. Then, if I go up here and... let's see here. Is there any possible place that fluid could come from up here? I need to just get rid of it. So we are going to disconnect that because we do want this semi-full fluid buffer to exist. And we're going to flush this full pipe network as well. So now there's nothing in any of this. So there's nothing anywhere up there which could possibly be doing anything. So now let's rebuild this whole thing. Not like that. And down like that. So now this crude oil buffer here is like the only spot where crude oil exists in this network. And actually, did that also clear out these? No, it did not. Okay, that's good to know. Alright, so now if we connect those up to there. Okay, somehow they've managed to find like the slightest trace of crude oil. But not enough to be relevant. So let's now connect them back up. So if the head lift is functioning, these should fill. And if the head lift isn't functioning, then they won't. And it looks like they are filling. So that should be promising. Alright, so then we go up here and we have meaningful flows across all of this. Pop a valve in up there, and of course that's completely dead. As is this one. Alright, so we seem to be in a wonderful superposition where we have enough head lift to get crude oil up here, but we don't have enough head lift to get any actual quantity of crude oil up here, and it just decides to randomly stop and give up like every 5 minutes or so. Because like those pipes, it should not have been possible for these pipes to fill at all if we didn't have head lift going up to them. Because that's just not how head lift works. Alright, I'm going to try one last thing. If we just put these pipes down here, and we get them powered up, because we definitely have head lift here, because these pipes were filled past that. So we put those pumps in, then for now at least it's working. For now it's working. I don't know, maybe that is all we had to do. So now we have 600 going past these valves. And it's all going into the remaining ones of these. And now we just have to see if that actually lasts. And if we attach that pipe in... Okay, if we attach that pipe in, this fluid buffer finally starts doing something, which is pretty good. So we do want this fluid buffer attached so that it doesn't like mysteriously drain over time. So this should keep it topped off. Alright, I think we've finally gotten something going here. So these valves are showing big numbers. And these freight platforms are filling. Okay, so now what we have to do is... Okay, step one... Actually, no, the modular engines, they can actually just come here, that's fine. Alright, because this now has a supply of crude oil. So we need... Let's see if I remember. this was pretty simple, right? It was just in like that. So now trains can access this stop, including that modular engines train from up there, which who knows if this is enough. This is like 1,200 a minute. I don't know how much that needs, but probably not that much, right? Alright, so that is going, and then we just need to get a train on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you are Central Oil, and you are going to be going from Oil Distributor Old to Oil, I just typed oil again, to Oil Hub, and save changes, I guess, and off you go. So you should then unload from all of this, and the way this works is the oil is going to be very much loaded towards this side from here. Like this first one is going to get like 600 a minute, then 300, then 150, then 75, then hardly anything. But it should fix itself as it overfills, if it overfills, which hopefully it will. Alright, so off you go. And then the mod engine oil train is coming over here. And I do think I want to tell it to go to the main distributor, just actually how much, depending on how much it needs. Because if that can be fully satisfied by this, then it's best to like do that tiny little bit to keep the traffic over there down. Otherwise, but if this can't be satisfied by this, then obviously we're going to be breaking that whole production line, which would be less than ideal. Alright, so you are in the station now, and there we go. Yeah, get some crude oil taken out. So the modular engine factory will be running once more. And then in the meantime, we will also be sending more oil over to our main oil hub location, which will hopefully mean that we have enough there to fill everything up. We're just going to hop on this train and ride it for a little bit. I'm not going to take it all the way, but it is heading in the right general direction. Standing on top of the train is way more fun than hopping in the UI. It also technically lets you jump away more conveniently with better angles and stuff and momentum. Alright. So let's see. We just have to go this way. The cooling system's nitrogen is doing weird stuff as usual. But that's probably fine. Alright, so now we are here. We're here at the oil hub, and we are unloading this central oil. So these guys have oil in them, but they're not going to be loading or unloading because both halves of those have trains in them. Yes, we might need to upgrade even this. Like, I don't know if the buffers are enough. Although, because like these are pretty full. Although I guess there isn't another oil input train in sight, so maybe it's fine. So these just need to drain as quickly as possible. And it's kind of weird that these ones only drain at 600. I guess because of this pipeline here. So I might want to put things to go directly across, just so that all of these can output equally. I don't know, though. Because theoretically that shouldn't be an issue. But then theoretically these would all be having much faster drain rates than what they're having. So the bottom rows are going full blast, the top rows aren't. That's what it looks like. Even in there, the bottom row isn't doing everything it needs to. Alright, what is that? Question mark. Oh, that's just the nitrogen. I forgot that we're directly across from that here. Alright, so this needs to get down to like 800 before another train starts loading it. Otherwise, some of that train's cargo is wasted. And it looks like most of them are getting there. Yeah, especially this last one for whatever reason. And this first one is the worst for some reason, but it looks like it's going to be close at least. So that is a good sign as far as getting the crude oil out. So that is then going to unload. We do have our buffers in here to keep this loading. Alright. Is this working well enough? I really, really hope so, because if this doesn't work, then we're going to have to set up a more complicated system with multiple train stations on either side, so we can have like 2 of these in parallel. Which, I've checked this a bunch of times and it hasn't been an issue before, but it might be an issue now. Yeah, that first station especially is not getting its output out near fast enough. Alright, so I think what we need to do is we need to valve like that. We need to valve like that so that this one isn't competing with anything for its outputs. It just has to go directly across as fast as possible. So now this should be showing like 1200. It probably will take a little bit to spike up to that. And it doesn't seem like it's staying there, which is certainly frustrating. And it looks like the top pipe is to blame. That's not at all stable throughput. But it's better at least. It's significantly better. And it looks like at some points it might be up at 1200-ish. And most of that is just going straight across. So that is now unloading faster. The rest of these are in the 800s now. That one's in the 900s. This one's down at 500. Yikes. Alright, and I don't see another oil train coming in, like, in the immediate short term. So I think that means that our throughput is probably sufficient. Yeah, maybe I need to like put pumps on these or something. Maybe, but I shouldn't, right? It is getting it up there in pretty fast numbers too, so it's probably fine. Okay, on the output side, we are doing a pretty decent job there. Yeah, I mean, this middle one is lower for some reason, probably because it's the one that's being divided out to a whole bunch of other places. So this should be functional. I don't know if we're sending full cargoes of oil, but it's pretty close. Meanwhile, this has now run out. So yeah, the oil input is definitely just never the problem now. It's just a matter of, is there physically enough oil, which we added another 1,200 on, and these trains should be filling up and then making their trips less frequently now that we have a better supply. That's my hope, at least. We haven't even activated the time crystal factory's oil demand though. So we might need even more, and we can get that from somewhere. I mean, there's oil scattered around. There's like these guys down there which haven't been tapped quite yet. You can get an additional pipe and a half there. I believe we're using those for some fuel power generator thing. There's obviously a couple more up north that I could grab. But we are starting to strain just like the oil supplies of the map in general, which is a bit worrying. Okay, so that is now leaving, and the central oil is showing up immediately afterwards. Now, how full are you? I wouldn't be surprised if you are not full at all. Yeah, so even the first one, which gets the most here, is only like 2/3 full. And that will be fine for this. So that is going to introduce some pretty significantly lopsided oil supply into here, which I would prefer it didn't, but it's probably fine. It's fine for now, at least. We might have to go through those pipes and just sort of reorganize them so that they split better. But for now, just all the oil that we can get is perfectly good. So this is still outputting. The buffers are not doing all that much buffering, but they're doing some at least, so that's nice. And yeah, I think we just need to like add even more oil, or hopefully just wait longer for it to stabilize. Hopefully just adding even more oil will do the trick. We are pretty close. We've got to be, right? Alright, so that is going. It's unloading. And we're sending off more trains. Alright, so let's head up. Let's head up to the Northern Oil and see if we can just attach more oil pipes into that system. Because there are some more oil pipes up there that we can grab. So up we go. And we're just going to slide jump along until we get there. So the more of this we do, the faster these trains will leave, the less time they'll spend waiting to fill up. And that will be quite helpful. Alright, so here we are. We have all these guys going up. And they could probably use a buffer or two, actually. Because I suspect that a lot of this is going to be shutting down when there's a train loading or unloading in the station. Okay, and this is just... yeah, so this whole thing, actually, is mostly just waiting for this one spot to fill up. So that's interesting. And it's only filling up at, like, 300 a minute. How is that only filling up at 300 a minute? Oh, it's because the rest of these are getting their buffers. Right. Okay. Okay, so let's get down here. So we've gotten all these central ones. There are these, that's like an additional pipe over there to the west. So we can bring that up, and I forgot how much of a mess this was. But it's fine. It has a functional headlift system, so I don't have to mess around with that. Let's bring you over to here and pop a floor hole over there. Set that down. And then this just goes down on this side of this giant wall, because the other side, I believe, is pretty heavily used. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff over there. So we just have to bring this all the way down and then connect it up to that additional pipe. And that'll be another 600 oil a minute, which will be moderately helpful at the very least, possibly more than that. And we're putting it right in where we know that there is a bit of a weak spot in the northern oil production. So, we are here. Now we just need to go over this way. And I don't know if we have power over there. Probably don't. Where's our power poles? There you are. We swap to the big power poles for this, since it's going to be at least a little bit of a journey. Alright, so we have that going over there. And that honestly should just like get us most of the way, I think. It's not all that far. It's not close, but it's not all that far either. Alright. I don't know why it's not saying I'm within range of power. You're not connected. Did I not connect my power pole up to the grid? That was silly of me. Yeah, look at that. They're just sitting next to each other. There we go. Now that's powered up. So now I can head over here. And where even is this oil? Is it up at all? Or is it... Let's see here. I'm going to go up here, place down a power line, and go over this way. Place down another one. Yes, so there's oil there. And so we just get production, oil extractor, and then we get another one back there. And then we just have to find the third, which should be over here somewhere, I think. Let's see, where are you? Yeah, you're down here. Okay. Not resource well pressurizer, just an oil extractor. Okay, so we are going to have to get all these guys set up and ready to go. So you get powered on, and you get 3 of those. And then you're going to go over that way. And then we're going to get these two to join up and do approximately the same thing. Just bring them all into one pipe, which can just travel along at approximately sea level. Alright, so they're connected and overclocked. Alright, so this pipe is just gonna head over that way. And then this pipe is gonna connect up there. And we need you to be overclocked as well. Alright, so now this pipe just has to go down this cliff and then over to meet up with this other 300. Alright, so that is all now 600 crude oil. And we just need you to come over this way and meet up with the rest of the oil production. We are not currently within the range of any power, which means we're going to have to walk along the ground. Alright, and then we can actually just loop around here. This is the pipe which I connected up. So you go into there. And then finally we need this to be connected in with the, whatchamacallit, we need this to be connected in with the head lift, which is over here and is a bit of a mess. Alright, I imagine this actually might already be connected in from the top side. Yeah, I think it's connected in from the top side, so we don't have to worry about it. So let's go up here. And hopefully that will work. It's kind of hard to see if it's working or not, but it should add a little bit on. Okay, up here the flow rate is 0. Why is the flow rate 0? Is it just because that train is stopped up here? Yeah, that might be it. Alright, that's fine though. Alright, so that is going. And we're sending off another one of those. Alright, now the flow rate here is back up. So each of these stations only has the ability to be filled one pipe at a time. So we have theoretically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pipes of oil going in. But I don't know how well that's actually working. So as long as this is filling that up faster. I wonder, actually, let's just have that happen. So, I don't know if that'll help much. And it might just not work for headlift reasons. But if we can get this guy loading up even faster, then that would be pretty neat. This is the one which seems to be falling behind all the time. So the idea is that we can have like 600 a minute go up there, 600 a minute-ish come from all the rest of these guys in there, and then it just kind of works. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just like getting this more than 600 a minute would be pretty cool. So all the rest of these are filling up at 600 a minute, or close to it. So the amount going through here is not much through there. Quite a decent amount through here. Although not 600 a minute, but it's close at least. And this top bit is actually accounting for something, I think. So yeah, hopefully that will balance that out and get this going faster. Because the one thing that we don't want is for it to just constantly be sitting here waiting when the rest of these are idle. Which I don't think is happening, but it conceivably could happen. I just want to be able to send train after train after train out as fast as possible, which means getting this more properly balanced. So yeah, it doesn't look like any of these are being wasted. Like, all the oil going into them is filling up this buffer, which means it does need to be doing that. Alright, so this one is going to fill up pretty soon. The rest of them are a little bit further behind. The rest of them are just a little bit further behind. So let's see. Ideally, this one would finish before even this one completely fills. Alright, so that one is completely full now. Which means anything that was going into it should now be going into this one. And there we go. We are taking that and going. So that train will leave. Most of the rest of these guys are completely full up. And this one is almost entirely empty. And its only outgoing transfer rate is 361 per minute here, which is not great. But now, at this particular moment, it's filling at more than 600 a minute, which is good. So the other ones can't do that ever, because they're locked to 600. So that should help balance this out eventually. And what else is there? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 input pipes and 5 train stations, each of which can only take 1 input pipe. So theoretically, assuming that all these pipes are maxed out, this is pretty much like the limit of what we can do. Or at least very, very close to it. until we start adding the second row of pipes into here, which, considering that the only oil left within 1 billion miles is this stuff over here, which is just 2 impure nodes, I don't think it's worth expanding it much further, unless there's something I'm missing because I don't have good radar coverage. Let's see. So this radar tower does miss out on that area. This radar tower... Alright, so we do have a gap in radar coverage right in this general area. So, I don't know. Let's just go exploring and see what's going on over there. So we are just gonna run over this way a bit. Do I have power lines down there? I do have some oil extractors in that general area. I don't think I have anything any further. Although I might have like a power line from when I was exploring or something. It doesn't look like it though. Let's swap to the jetpack, drop down to here, and grab this power line. In order to fill the gap we want to fill, we don't have to travel that far. So we get power tower platform. We get you powered up. So, if I remember correctly, this was like there, that was like there, and our next one was like there. And then we obviously have something in there. So we want to go there-ish, so east and a little bit south. So let's head off and start moving. Should be able to cover some serious ground with jetpack plus this. So we can go to there. And then, alright, that's probably too much south, actually. So let's head this way. And off we go. And then we place the next one a little bit further along. A lag spike caused us to lose the chance to zipline. Alright, is this... This is honestly pretty much the area. It's not perfect, but should cover everything anyways. So, radar tower. And connect you up. Alright, so there is another normal crude oil node in this area, and I guess we could bring that back for yet another pipe, but I don't think it's necessary. We should be fine as is. Alright. So we wound up really not making much forward progress on anything today. We just spent the entire time fixing the ridiculous crude oil setup, which the good news is we did get that done at least. Okay, wait, I'm about to run out of... Alright, we need to swap to parachute. I was not paying attention and ran out of jetpack fuel. So let's just parachute over this way. We can land on this little ledge. And swap back. Alright. Wait, we actually need to be heading this way. I got distracted and just head the wrong direction entirely. So we need to go this way. And make our way back to the crude oil setup to see what's going on there. I guess I should check to see if all of the extractors there are running at full power. Because if they aren't, then that's going to be a serious issue that we are going to need to fix. I just sort of assumed that they were, but I don't actually know that. And it might be different now that I've hooked those new ones on. Alright, so now we are in the general area. Let's grab a Mercer Sphere. You can never have too many Mercer Spheres. Actually, you kind of can, but you can never have too many Summer Sloops. It's pretty difficult to have too many Mercer Spheres. Alright, we can swap back to the hover pack now. And that one's at 100%. This one's down at 90%. So we might be oversaturating things. Let's check. This one is 75%. That's 98%. Alright, so we do seem to have some problems here. But it's all pretty good. And those new ones I added on, are they running strong? Let's go over to here. And up we go. Can't quite zip line on that because it goes straight through a wall. Also goes straight through a wall, but it's fine. Okay, so you are stuck at 1%. You look like you're also not working at all. Down at 3%. And then if we make our way over here, this one is also not working. Alright, so that's fun. We need to figure out why that is. If the answer is that the headlift just decides to not be functional, I will be very sad. But I think that's probably is going to be the answer. So let's follow this pipe up. So there are a couple things we can try if the headlift is a problem. Although actually, well, the first thing we need to try is just connecting it to this. So we just need a junction there. Bring you around. And there's a nice little gap in here for it to be connected into. And just like that, this is now attached to the whole thing, and it looks like something might be happening now. It looks like something might now be happening. Well, it's hard to say because pipes are very good at giving you completely nonsense, useless information. So all the way up here, it's still a 600 per minute. And if we go all the way up, still 600 per minute. And even further up, still 600 per minute. And that's being split between that and this. So it looks like we're still doing this same thing where the other ones, except for this one randomly, go faster. Alright, what if I disconnect you? So now this whole pipe only does this one thing. Does it actually send anything up there? Yes, it does. Now this is filling at like 1,000 and some. So that's pretty neat. Although it's not staying stable like that. The top pipe is. The bottom pipe is doing other stuff. Okay, now this one... Alright, that's just 0 because it's doing the animation. This center one is also apparently... It should be doing the animation. It's stuck. Like the input is stuck. Okay, so these ones are filling now. If this is true and it's getting, well, 900 a minute now, then that should be well more than any of the rest of these can possibly get. Okay, so now even this last one is also waiting. So we might need to do some work over there, maybe. But that is a good sign that this one, at least, is catching up. It isn't now the only limiting factor. It seems like it might not even be the major limiting factor anymore. Alright, so that is done. And now that is loading up in advance of the next one. All the rest of these are already going well. At various numbers. This last one is animating. And yeah, this is definitely not... This pipe's definitely not going to be the problem much longer. Like, it's going real fast. Whereas this last one is now the issue. But still, just fixing this should mean that the system overall is indeed outputting a lot more crude oil than it was. So that's pretty neat. Okay, this train, Northern Oil 2, is coming back mostly full. So that's interesting. That's interesting indeed. Mostly full except for the second to last one. So I wonder if that's because the whole thing is functional again, or because the throughput just simply isn't enough. Let's head over there and check. Things here seem to be going pretty well now. And they could be improved more to get things more evenly distributed. But they're going pretty well overall. Alright, so we just do a slide jump back. And almost there. Alright, so here we are, back at the oil hub. And the fluid buffers are... The bottom fluid buffers, at least, are pretty much completely capped out. And the top fluid buffers have some stuff in them, at least. So that's neat. And some of the trains are leaving with some resources left in them. So then the question becomes, what about the output trains? Are they leaving full? Or at least close to full? Alright, so that train gets loaded up. It's going out, and it's like a quarter. It's like a quarter, and it's just filling as fast as it can. That's not terribly fast. not fast enough, it seems. Alright, so now we need to figure out how to get that working. So these are filling the buffer tanks enough, I would say. I mean, this all looks fine. So if the buffer tanks are being filled, then the problem is we just have too many output trains that each one is stopping the oil flow, and that's preventing things from getting fully corrected. Although with that said, this is doing pretty well right now. So the lowest is like 900, and we need to get up to 1600 in order to send a full train out. And there's not a train in sight. So the next train that shows up is going to get a full cargo almost certainly. Why is this one in particular different? So you are the central one. Maybe that has something to do with it, as far as these getting less crude oil. Who knows? Or maybe it might just be a thing from the source. That's at 1,000. All of these... Okay, no, this one is draining way faster because that's how I set it. Alright, so the problem we have is we want these to be distributed across so that they're somewhat even. We simultaneously want them to not step on each other's toes and all output their full capacity, which I believe is what the problem we're having right now is. Like, water's flowing across these things and slowing itself down. Not water, fluid, obviously. We do have more crude oil coming in. And that's from a central oil, so it's going to be pretty lopsided towards this one. And all the rest of these are filling up. Well, okay, some of these guys are filling up both, like this one, and I mean pretty much just that one apparently. The rest of them are doing weirder stuff. So that has delivered crude oil to all of these guys, and we're going to get another delivery immediately after, which is suboptimal, but probably fine, honestly. So these are all full. So we have... So this is going to get completely filled up. Alright, I think we might maybe have solved the crude oil problem, and the extra, 1800 a minute that we added might have been enough. Because, I mean, none of the things that use crude oil use all that much, right? So it's probably fine. And these fluid buffers are filling up while that unloads. That train got everything except maybe this one spot full. Even that one was pretty close. Alright, so we definitely have enough crude oil output. It looks like it might be getting through the system fast enough as well. So those guys, this is the only one so far. Yeah, basically all of them are filling at 1200 a minute except for this center one. And if that's the position we're in, we're pretty happy. So outgoing transfer rate is showing at 485, 440, 470, somewhere in that ballpark. And if we're filling this at 1200 a minute, then that's great. Alright, it might be It might be a premature celebration, but I think we might have succeeded. So I'm also not seeing nearly as many trains come here, which is a good sign, because what is supposed to happen is a train shows up, gets a big cargo of oil, and then goes back and stays at its destination for like a good long while before eventually coming back. So because it'll stay until it's emptied out, and then it'll come back for another trip. So if the trains are full and spending that time, then they won't show up here as often, which will also just make it a whole lot more efficient for everything else. So I think we've done it. It might be a little bit premature because we haven't given it that much time to settle in, but like here comes another oil delivery, and then there's another one right after it, and the stations are full. The bottom buffers are doing well. The top buffers have some stuff in them. So yeah, I think we're going to call that a successful day of just bashing our head into the fluid situations. And I think we've succeeded. I mean, there's still not another crude oil train showing up. That's actually suspicious. Is there a traffic jam somewhere? Doesn't look like it, although it looks like there might be some kind of slow traffic in here. But that's fine. Alright, I think we were successful. And then next time we can make our way over to the actual place where we're working for our time crystals. And hopefully that extra, 144 crude oil shouldn't completely break everything. It seems like the surplus we have here is pretty substantial, so it should be fine. And alright, this ACU oil might get not enough just because of bad timing. But yeah, I think we're doing well here. So thanks everyone for hanging out. It was a lot of troubleshooting and fixing and upgrading, which is always a different sort of thing to have happen, but also kind of fun in its own mildly frustrating way. So yeah, I think we're going to wrap up here. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, alternating between various factory building games. So if you're interested in Satisfactory or Factorio, I'm playing those. So I will be back tomorrow doing Factorio, where we're kind of in a power grid crisis at the moment. And then we'll be back to Satisfactory on Thursday. So make sure to follow if you haven't already, so you know when I'm live and when I'm playing. And that's about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out.